All right, Shalom. Let's start first by giving all praises and glories unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahushai, Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahushai, Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahushai. Call Halal, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone who rule well, who show us this truth, are examples unto the type of men that we should be and the things that we are instructed in through the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And greetings, salutations, and blessings unto the house of David, the elect, those that will receive this truth and endure to the end and get salvation. Shalom. All right, I had a request to do another Sabbath breakdown, and I guess it's time again for this because for the new believers coming in, this is one of the things that that you need to know to try to observe to the very best of your ability, because we're rehearsing the righteous acts, but to the best of your ability, trying to keep. And Leviticus 23:1 says, matter of fact, I'm gonna start at 1. Yeah, 3 is a point, but I'm gonna read up to 1. It says, "And the Lord Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel." Now, if this is your first video and you don't know what this whole Hebrew Israelite thing is about, or you just tuned in to a Great Millstone video, so we're going to give you the whole truth and nothing but the truth, right? The children of Israel are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and also those that have the spirit of these 12 tribes scattered across the 4 corners of the earth that look like the other nations. Not every Israelite Judite will look like Shaq or random black guy or will look like Pancho Villa if he's a Issacharite or whatever else, or Pitbull if he's Puerto Rican, whatever. None of that matters. It depends on what if your spirit goes back to these people. Anyway, it says, and say unto them concerning the feasts of the Lord Yahweh, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, these are my feasts. And this chapter basically goes into all the high holy days that we are to observe to the best of our ability. Right? And here's the point for the Sabbath. Verse 3, it says, 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest and holy convocation. Ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord Yahweh in all your dwellings. And basically, it's the Sabbath, so you're supposed to try to rest. But the question is, how do we know when the Sabbath comes in, and how do we know, how to observe it? Well, some people observe it, other camps outside of Great Millstone, some observe it weekly, keep it on a Friday to Saturday or whatever. We're not really supposed to judge men in the way that they keep the Sabbath, because we're into these curses anyway. We can't keep it perfectly. You break one, you break them all. But it's the intent and the rehearsal that we're supposed to be going through. But according to the scripture here at Great Millstone, we educate in the actual way that the scriptures say to keep it. Right. So let me go to something. Right. Let me go to Genesis, first chapter. Start around the 14th verse, I believe. Yeah. Yep. Genesis 1:14 says, "And the Most High, or the Elohim, if you have ears to hear that, meaning the powers, it said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years. Let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and it was so. And the Elohim made 2 great lights." And just to break down the Elohim, because the Most High Yahweh made the first spirit, which was Yahweh Shai, and the other spirits, which are the elect, that helped him create everything on earth. The Most High gave the blueprint unto Yahweh Shai when he was that first spirit, and then the Elohim also went. That's why when it says Elohim, or in the ancient Hebrews, Elohim, right there, meaning powers. It wasn't just the one power. The Most High God Yahweh himself doesn't show up to the second chapter in Genesis. Anyway, it says, in, verse 16, it says, and the Elohim made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, which is the sun, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And Elohim set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And he saw that it was good. And the evening, when the sun going down, is the evening, and the morning were the fourth day. And it was always the evening to the morning. So that's how you know when the day starts and finishes. So in the evening is the end of a day, and once it's night begins the next day. So that's how you keep that, right? So when we observe days the ancient way, we don't observe it at midnight, in the middle of the darkest moment of the day or whatever. That's not how we do it, because there's no divide, but there's no sign. And what this had just described to you was a calendar and a clock and a timetable. That's what that did. So in the positions of the sun, there's different. When the sun is coming up, that's one point of the day. When the sun's going down, that's the end of a day. Another time stamp, so to speak, of a day. Let me go to, I believe it's Sirach 43, if I recall properly. Start around 3. Should I start at the top? Sirach 43. Let's start at verse. I'm starting from verse 1. It says, the pride of the height, the clear firmament, the beauty of heaven with his glorious show. It says, all right, Church J. Anyway, the sun when it appeareth, declaring at his rising a marvelous instrument, the work of the Most High. Talking about the sun, right? It says, at noon it parcheth the country. It's the highest point of the day. And who can abide the burning heat thereof? Right? Especially when you live in the desert. Verse 4, a man blowing a furnace is in works of heat, but the sun burneth the mountains 3 times more, breathing out fiery vapor and sending forth bright beams. It dimmeth the eyes. It's too bright. You gotta squint at it, right? Squint your eyes at it. Verse 5 said, great is the Lord Yahweh, or that made it, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshua, that made it, and at his commandment runneth hastily. It moves at the timetable that the Most High has set forth. It says, he made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. Right? That's the calendar. That's the modern day calendar. By the sun is the daily calendar, 24-hour calendar of a day, or the 12 of the light, and then the moon gives months and weeks. Which the word week means change. The word moon means month, so it gives all of that by these two lights in the heavens. It says he made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. From the moon is the sign of feasts, a light that decreaseth in her perfection. So now we tying in from Deuteronomy 23 how to observe, and then Genesis the first chapter how to observe these the Most High's high holy days and the calendar and the ancient Hebrew Israelite calendar. This is all tying in. Then I'm going to show you literally how to do it. It says, from the moon is the sign of feast, a light that decreaseth in her perfection. Because the moon is perfect during the new moon. There's no moon there. You can't see anything. That's a clear sign when there is no sight of a moon in the sky. That's the new moon. What's the opposite of a new moon? A full moon. When there's a full moon, that's 2 weeks later, and it's a full moon. You can see the complete light of the moon, right? The first week after the new moon is the first quarter. It's a half moon. Then it decreases. It increases to the full moon. Then it decreases back to the other half moon the third week, and back to the new moon at the fourth week, or the first week. The fourth week and the first week become the first week of the Sabbath. I'll explain that in a minute. It says, verse 8, it says, the month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing. Yeah, because it's clear-cut signs. There's no moon in the sky during the new moon. There's a half moon the first quarter during the first week. There's a full moon during the second week. There's the other half of the moon during the third week. And there's a no moon, or the new moon again, during the fourth, which is also the end of that week is the fourth week. And then it also begins the first week also. I have images to show you in just a moment. It says, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven, the beauty of heaven, the glory of the stars, and ornament giving light in the highest places of the Lord Yahweh. It says, at the commandment of the Holy One, they will stand in their order and never faint in their watches. Yes, so that's always going to be something for you to be able to look to and observe the time. So when all this society crashes, we can still keep the Shabbat. In the ancient world, when there were no clocks and there were no street lights and all of this other stuff, this is what we went by. The world went by, by the sun and the moon. That's how you knew seasons. That's how you knew, that's how you knew the times. All right, so now let's go into these images. All right, this is basically the breakdown right here. The new moon is the first day of the month. It's the new moon, the seventh day of the week. It's the first day of a month. So basically, right here, it's showing you that's when the new moon is, right? Then you count. That's the first day. Then it goes the second, the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Those are 6 days in between that you may do work. Now let's remember that the Sabbath starts at the night before, at sundown, at the evening, right? Then the next sundown is the Sabbath is over. Then you go the second day, the third day, the fourth day, the fifth day, the sixth day, the seventh day. Those are the 6 days that thou shalt work. Then the eighth day is the seventh of that month, of that week, and it'll be a half moon, or the first quarter, on the 8th day, right? Then you go to the 9th day, and so on and so forth, to the full moon, and you can see from there. That's generally how you keep it. Well, some people have a tough way to break down how do you know when the Sabbath comes in, because here's where it gets tricky, right? Here's where it gets tricky. Go to this. To this app I had. Here's where it gets tricky. When the apostle just broke this down to us the other day, because when you have a double Sabbath, or when you have a Sabbath that skips a day and jumps to the next day, how are you able to read that? Well, basically the sunset. When the sun set, you see here it says sunrise and sunset, right? When the sun is set at 7:51, but the moon rise is at 9:30 that morning, you observe it the day before. So that would be a double Sabbath. But if it was after that, then you would skip that day, and then it would be the next day. I don't know if we'll be able to understand that, but let me see if I can go a little bit deeper. Let me see. Basically what it's saying is if the sunset is, say if the sunset was at 5 something in the afternoon, as it will get in the wintertime, and then the full moon doesn't really come out, or the moon doesn't come out, the moon set or the moon rise doesn't come out till after that. Well, guess what? That's when you know that the Sabbath is after that, on the same day. Sometimes it'll be the next day. It all depends on when that is, when that next phase of the moon is, when it'll be set on that phase. That's how you read it. And if any brothers or apostle has any any more clarification on that exactly, Baba Kusha, make a please make a response video or a more edifying lesson. But basically, that's how you do it. Yeah, but it goes from sunset to sunset every day. So right now, when the Sabbath comes around, which is the new Sabbath comes around, it'll be I'll show you exactly. It should tell you exactly when it is. Let me see. Not the eclipses. Let me go back to the overview. Let me go back out of here. Yeah. Look, next full moon is on the 9th. Let's go to the calendar. The 9th is Tuesday. Tuesday night, though. And this is for May. But it'll be June, so let's go to June 9th. Oops. Sorry. June 9th, which will be Friday. But it started Thursday night. Because the 9th is now Thursday night, because the new day is on Thursday. If that makes sense to you. You know? So it'll be Thursday night because the moon set was before the sunset. So Lord willing, that's edifying. Like I said, if there's another brother or an apostle or somebody or another somebody that can give a more clear explanation of that portion of it, of how do you know when it's a double Sabbath or when it skips. But it also goes down to the let me see real quick, because every month, let me see the calculator. My calculator right here. Every month is 29.53 days, right? So if you got 29.53, that's it's like 29 and a half days, right? But those 29.53s add up, right? You see, the next time you have it, it's now 59.6 days instead of 58 days, right? See how it's moving, but it's not. You do it again, 29.53, now it's 88. You see how it's skipping? Now it's a day and a half again. That's going to skip a day. It skipped the first day, then it goes back and it gave you the whole day. Then it skips a day, then it gives you the whole day again. Every month it does that when you're at that 0.53. And those, see how I said that 3, that 5 gives you the half day, but that 3 also adds up and gives you that extra day every 3 months or so, 3 to 4 months. It adds another day on top of that because them 3s are now added up. And this is just basic math, you know, addition and basic math as you saw me do, you know. So this is 3 months later, you know, and it's giving you how that Sabbath adds up, you know. But like I said, you don't have to necessarily go this deep into it. You know, we're not judging man in this in this Sabbath or in meat or in drink, you know, but we just try to observe it to the best of our ability, you know. So Lord willing, this was edifying unto you, you know, and I'm gonna go back to the image before I close out. So Lord willing, you're able to kind of see generally how the Sabbath is done. This is how it does. It has no Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday on there. It just shows you that there's 6 work days and 1 Sabbath, you know, that you observe weekly. Oh, and when it comes in, you still observe that 4th Sabbath, because that's where the double Sabbath comes in. I don't think I said that. You still observe that 4th week of the Sabbath on that same day, but then it'll change with that half day or that full day. You know, when you're at that 29.53, that 0.53 onto it, it'll change to the next day. So you keep the old Sabbath, that 4th week, for that 4th day of that Sabbath, whatever day it was landed on. Say it was Wednesday night to Thursday night, you know, this month or whatever. You keep that. Then it'll switch over, you know, the next month. You still keep that on the 4th month, and then the new moon will come in on, say, Thursday to Friday. You know, Thursday night to Friday night. Then you keep that, and that equals the double Sabbath. But if it adds together and that moon set is more than the day before, you know, more than If it says before the sun, if it says before the sunrise, I mean before the sunset, the moon rise is before the sunset, or after, so like or after the sunset, then you would observe it the next day. So Lord willing, that was edifying, but I didn't mean to confuse that at the end. But basically, you're just keeping the days like this, and a lot of modern day calendars, 99-cent store calendars, they have that for you. They'll have it right on the calendar. You know, you can look at these calendars for $1 in Dollar Tree or whatever little 99-cent stores that you guys got around, and they'll have them written right on there. Just look for it before you buy it. It'll say with the moon set and the moon, the new moon, and everything else. That's the way to do it. But there's all kinds of apps and whatnot that has all of this. So with that, I'm gonna close out. Say Brakatah Yahweh Shai, call hello Yahweh Bashim Shai. Double honor to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone. Greetings and salutations and blessings unto the house of David, the elect, those that will be chosen for salvation. With that, I say shalom.